Hi there. I want to quickly go through this visual design brief. It's from an imaginary scene that I've created for this course, and it's something you might get presented with if you were working within a team and they were asking you to do some concept art, basically. And usually this information is extracted from a larger game design document, and it's put together purely for the concept artist and the art team, so you can get a sense and a feel for the area you're about to conceptualize. So let's go through it quickly. You'll see the first heading here is game genre, so what sort of game it is, what it's played on, who our target audience is. All these things very important to help you sort of steer your art. So it's a third-person action adventure. Generally, the customer wants you to create concept art that's sort of from the player's perspective, and it should convey the sort of, if you're doing a epic space scene, then your concept art will be in space. If there's a lot of combat in space, it will generally show some explosions, the type of spaceships, or some focal point of the game. And then I've got mature rating here, and this is really important because this will tell you the type of material you can include in your concept art. So for example, if it's a child's game, if it's a game for children, it's going to be bright, potentially colourful, and it's got to be friendly, and steer clear of any sort of gratuitous violence, blood, or anything like that. However, if it's mature rating, you've got a bit more freedom, a bit more license to create some interesting things that's not child friendly. So scenario, this is quite important because this describes the scene. Obviously you're going to need that information, and you can see I have underlined a few key points here that will help you build up your sort of visual bank, if you like, for your concept art. A long winding path that snakes deep into a forest. You can, suddenly you've got an image in your head. There's a rickety wooden cabin, which is part of the concept art that we're going to create. It's not a traditional location, so it's not fantasy. So there's no weird, odd trees. It's very traditional. It's in the northeast corner of the forest. The player should be able to glimpse the hut as he approaches it from all directions, so the tree should not be too dense around the hut. So that's quite important. You want to be able to see the hut, from fair distance. And because this is going to be a night time, you'll see in the mood atmosphere in a minute, which we can move along to now. It is dark and atmospheric, so you want to be able to see the hut through the forest, and if it's dark you can light it in such a way that it really becomes a focal point of the entire scene, so you can see the warm light through the trees, and the trees could be silhouetted. It's quite a powerful image there potentially. The mood and atmosphere should make the player feel something. It should like I've put here, the sound will convey danger and tension, so you want to get that across in your art also. The player should feel unease and hesitancy, and he might creep through the forest expecting an attack, so you can get a real sense of the atmosphere and the mood that they want you to convey in the art. So it should match, the description should match the art, and mood atmosphere is really key for that. So I've also included some player objectives, sub-objectives and challenges. Now these are quite useful because there might be key items in these that you can include in your concept art. And if you're doing a particular part of the scene that involves a challenge or an objective, that should be included in the concept art. And then we've got key locations. So this whole area has got several key locations, not just the one. Walt's Hut being one of them, which is the area we're going to focus on for this course. It's a rickety wooden hut light or smoke from the fire or the glow of the hut interior light can be seen bleeding through the trees, like we discussed before, and it can act as a sort of a guiding light and a target for the player to head towards, like a moth to flame, as it were. And you can see I've included a description of various key locations. I've also included NPCs and creatures because these can feature heavily in your concept art also. Quite important in some cases. And then finally at the bottom, concept art requirements. Now here's a list of concepts I would require for this area, but we're only going to do one of these. We're going to focus on Wart's Hut for the entire course. Feel free to do any one of these if you wish, but we're going to concept the hut and focus on building the hut area all the way through to the end, as if it were sort of a final scene in a game. After this lecture you'll get to create a map, and you can see a thumbnail of it there, and you'll see that this is just a small section of the entire map that I've created. And this is, you know, like I said before, it's from an imaginary game design document I've created out of my head just for the purpose of this course. So have fun with it. Create your own. I'll be giving you a blank version of this, so you can create your own in a later lecture. I'll be giving you that challenge, and it'll be really interesting to see what you come up with. But these are really important, these documents. You know, it provides a solid foundation going forwards, and it helps you visualize before you sit down and start to draw or paint. And it gets the creative juices flowing and helps you build a sort of a really good solid visual bank of images in your mind. Yeah, so really interesting. I won't go through it in too much detail here. You can download it. It's attached to this course, so have a read through it and you'll get a good sense of what we're trying to create here. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next lecture.